gosh, what are we doing here? What are we? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Oh, I see. Sorry about this. It's the first Friday of the month. That means it's time for Fishtrap Fireside, right? And Fireside is a monthly reading series we have here at Fishtrap to celebrate local voices and stories. And each month we get a little look in what people of the West are thinking about and writing down, mostly folks from around here. And I want a special welcome to all of you who are attending Fishtrap Fireside for the first time, and the first time in a long time. And all of you out there in internet land, thanks for watching Fishtrap Fireside at fishtrap.org or on Fishtrap's YouTube channel. We're happy to have you. Tonight's featured readers, this is a great variety pack. I think you folks are going to enjoy this tonight. And all of them have told me that they're a little bit nervous about getting up on stage, and who wouldn't be? But this is the friendliest crowd in the world. So when I announce their names, give them a big round of applause, okay? Tonight's featured readers are, for the first time, in 11 years of Fishtrap Fireside, for the first time, June Colony is coming up to read. And from Wallowa, John Gaterud is going to get up and and our good friend Lauren MacDonald will. Each month, Fishtrap Fireside has a sponsor, the folks who kind of help provide food and keep this program going. And this month's Fishtrap Fireside sponsor is right across the street, Wild Carrot Herbals. Great folks. If the winter time has your lips a little chapped, or if you want to treat yourself to something nice, walk across the street and tell them thanks for sponsoring Fireside. All right, here's how it works. Each month we have 3 featured readers. They get up and they've got about 10 minutes to explore any subject that they want. We hear all the genres, which is fun, and oftentimes get surprised. And after the 3 featured readers have a chance, we'll have an intermission. Where you can refill your glass, get a little something to eat, say hi to folks you haven't seen in a long time, or introduce yourself to somebody new. This is a wonderful community opportunity. And then afterwards, there's this thing called the open mic, and these are little tidbits. These are little, less than 5-minute little readings of things that people have been thinking about or writing down, or maybe even scribbled during the readings, something that they read. There are 5 spots, and I see that 2 are filled. So if any of you want to try something, tell a joke, tell a story, as long as it's less than 5 minutes, you're welcome to do it, and we'll go from there. Okay, let's get to the show. Before that, thank you all for coming down on this sleety, snowy, cold kind of February 2nd night. It's always so great to see people say, hey, let's get off the couch and go down and hang out with people at Fishtrap. It really means a lot to all of us. All right. Many of you know June, and for those who don't, you're in for a treat. June Colony wasn't born out here in Eastern Oregon. She just knew it was home the first time she came out of the Minam and found the valley awaiting her arrival. It was waiting for her. She soon returned, having coaxed her 1968 VW bus into bringing her a few belongings and a box of canned food that her mom boxed up for her, up the steep roads and into Lostine. That was 50 years ago, and it looks like she's here to stay. June is a interactive kind of person. She loves to tell stories and to share her work, and I think she's going to pull all of you into the reading tonight. So I'm going to give you a little taste of what may come. She writes, June wants help in closing her reading. When she points her finger at you, shout, "Come on, Shep, it's time to salt the band." Ready? Let's try it together. It's come on, Shep. Let's time to salt the band. Ready? Come on, Shep. It's time to salt the band. Welcome, June Colony.
Well, I was telling Pam that I'm a show-off, but this is murder. I can't believe I did this. So I'm going to start telling stories from when I was a kid and then when I moved up here and sheep herding. And then at the very end, I actually have a sheep herder thriller fiction book that I'm working on. So let me start out. And you saw a picture of me when I was little in Albany. We had a small family dairy. And being the youngest of 6, I hung with Mom as she did the milking. Rejecting girly dresses, I spent hours in the pens with the calves and the kittens, never caring how dirty my pedal pushers got or how messy my pixie-cut hairdo was. We lived at the edge of town, and like many of our generation, we were free-roam kids. Our summers were full of nighttime snipe hunts in the back pastures or reckless leaps from the hay mow after our hay was delivered. My favorite adventures were when we all traipsed off to Hales Woods, which lay in the distance beyond neighboring farm fields. Grandma Day would caution us as we left, "Look out for the old well cover, don't fall in." Being out is what we called it, and that is still my fairest country. Short poem, Wallowa County. These canyons, these mountains, call me to flow with the seasons. The snow, receding I follow, advancing I lead. When I was 21, I moved to this unknown mountain valley at the end of the highway. When I drifted on down and into Hell's Canyon, I moved even further into a life so simple that decades melted away from the present. Filling my view in all directions, Hell's Canyon seemed broken up into humps and twists. There were sweeping benches, easy to stroll across, and rough patches and knife edges of basalt rims. Rushy draws collected runoff from distinct basins which fell into the Snake River below. Like sirens to the fishermen, the canyons drew me to jump ship from the life I was expected to live and to instead choose one to remember. At first I clung to the collar of my black lab as she trotted beside me on the trails, always placing herself on the outside edge. I still have my old backpack. I loved the feel of it on my body. All of my possessions fit into the numerous pockets and compartments. I don't think I made or spent much money on those canyon days. My memories are of speed lacing the black logger boots I wore or sliding my dad's knife sheath onto my belted black jeans, of embroidering the maroon wool sweater that I pulled on over my gray woolen long johns. Although I lost the brown felt hat that I often filled with cold spring water for a deep drink, my braided hair is still home for a few found feathers. Oh, the glory of being alone between the canyon rims. Why would I ever need a 3-bedroom house with a lawn to mow? Just give me the richness of elk on a ridgeline or nighthawk shouting in the sky at dusk. My lines blurred between freedom and responsibilities. Single and childless, I roamed Hell's Canyon, singing and climbing rims, sometimes naked in the sun and sometimes bundled against the cold wind. Home was the canyons, my home, June Canyon's base camp for life. I wasn't always alone in these canyons. There were other young adults from other cities who found solace in her beauty, her silence. Once, 9 of us gathered together on a low bench covered with old circular living pits. It had rained all night, and we had a bad sleep, dog-piled together in 3 small backpack tents. Come morning, we fanned out, climbing around rims and across sumac screes, up to get the first sun after our wet night. It was Glenn who found it first, a rising slope basalt cliff that sheltered a half circle of dry, flat ground, dry even after the night's heavy spring rains. The bottom rock of the basalt cliff was well blackened from ancient fires. We decided to rebuild that natural shelter. We called it the hooch. Chuck, from Minham, lugged a huge flat stone over and placed it as a new hearthstone while Annie and I gathered dry twigs to start a fire. A large cottonwood branch had broken from an old tree, and Glenn and Andy drug it up to the top of our cliff and threw it off to break it shorter. It fit perfectly into a rocky notch at the cliff face. We positioned the butt end out, away from the hearthstone about 8 feet, and then we gathered more dead limbs, setting them as rafters along that main ridgepole to form a half circle hugging the dry space below the cliff. Using my sheath knife, Pam and I cut red osier whips. We wove them through the dead limbs to form a basket-like base that we then sheathed with slabs of sloughed cottonwood bark. Annie filled a pot with stream water and dried beans, placing it on the hearthstone against the coals of our fire. That night, all 9 of us slept warm and dry in the hooch as it rained. Now I had a home within a home and a tribe to align with. Sheep herding. Letter to home, January 1978. Dear folks, I'm back at camp, 6:30 a.m., still dark, but in the warm tent I have a radio on and a white gas lantern lights my breakfast. Cherry Creek is a long ways from Enterprise. I wrestled a snowmobile for miles to get to the ranch truck parked below the snow line. Leo drove the truck down another few miles until we came to the lambing sheds and cookhouse. After that, I rode a horse behind a pack string as we moved the band to a new camp over Cemetery Ridge. That took most of yesterday. I have 10 days left at sheep camp. Then I'll be living in a log cabin where the lambing takes place. Around 2,000 ewes, I think, are to lamb there. It's raining now. I have a waterproof suit and can stay dry. The grass is real good nearby, so I can come back to the tent for a hot lunch. Today won't be hard. My poem. Sheepherder's Daughter. Why wasn't I born a sheepherder's daughter? With my healthy skin, my right smile, with this clean scarf around my face, golden hair, hard-working hands, surely I would have been the adored daughter of my herdsman's father. It's family that I miss here. Children finding beetles in the grass, violins being played by old men, long winter evenings full of voices, full of songs, hands clapping, young and old, together as our sheep slumber. These are dreams, visions. My own family is far away, driving cars, watching TV, laughing together in restaurants, playing on newly mowed lawns. This plumber's daughter lights her lantern, feeds her fire, and thinks about dinner for one. Mystery thriller. Which happens later. This is sort of the introduction of it. The bunch grass across the benches had been stunted by this dry fall, and the last 2 camps had given me and my dog Shep no rest. The band moved so quickly over the basin's meager feed that I had to walk all day, and Shep spent his time at the front edge of the band responding to my whistled commands to turn back the head ewe, keep her from going over the ridge line, and taking the other sheep with her. When Leo came to restock my camp boxes and firewood, he decided to pack up and move us to better pastures. We trailed the band for a long day then, across the tops from Chalk Springs to Jim Creek and down to a wide bench that held an old Forest Service cabin. The bunch grass there hadn't been grazed since last fall, and the feed was so much better in the basins around the cabin. Shep and I would have some needed rest there as the sheep would settle and graze close by for a few days. It was exciting to see the metal roof pitched behind a tangle of plum trees near the small stream. And the pack boxes were barely off the horses and onto the sagging porch when I had the old mattresses out the front door and against the stone steps. Thank God there was an old broom there to beat them with. I had been too long in a small dirt-floored tent, and my nesting instincts were kicking in. For hours I swept floors and washed walls and windows with the dish soap and the bleach dregs I found in the rusty metal cabinet. I was still washing out the old cafe curtains by the propane gas lights long after my camp tender retired to bed. Before I gave out, I set the empty washpan under the cabin's eaves. The pan was full by morning. The long-needed fall rains finally had settled upon the canyons. After a coffee, fried potato, and deer steak breakfast at the old wood cook stove, Shep and I went with Leo as far as the old barn as he took back to the trail for the home place at Cherry Creek. Turning from our last wave, I hauled a feed sack of minerals out of the tack room, and I poured small piles of that salt along the rise in front of the barn. With Shep close to my side, I called my band down from the hillsides for a treat before our day of slow herding commenced. You ready? I got a dog, his name is Shep, sheep all day, he ain't caught one yet. Come on, Shep, it's time to salt the band. All day long, the hills they run, the sheep get fed and the dogs have fun. Come on, Shep, it's time to salt the band. Salt the band, rickety you and standoff ram. Come on, Shep, it's time to salt the band. Salt the band, they all come run while lick my hand. Come on, Shep, it's time to salt the band. In the morning, it's just too quiet, so I roll my tongue just to cause a riot. That's it.
Yay. Thanks, Jude. Hey folks, this month is, I believe, the 16th or 18th year that Fishtrap has hosted the Nea Big Read. The Big Read is a chance for us all to gather around a great work of literature together and read it as a community, to have discussions, have events. This year is the first year, I don't know if you all know this, but it's the first year that we've picked poetry. And some folks will say, oh, poetry. That's the stuff that doesn't go to the end of the page. That's the writing that's kind of heady and thick. This will surprise you. It's the Catalog of Unabashed Gratitude by Ross Gay. One of the reviews is that it's like opening the window in the spring and letting the air come in. These are accessible, wonderful poems. Lots of them are about gardening. Fishtrap has provided more than 600 free books to schools and libraries in Wallowa and Union counties. So you can pick up a copy at the Book Loft or get one at the library and join in. Circle your calendar for the kickoff, which is here on Sunday, February 12, with Oregon's Poet Laureate Anis Mungani, who cites, Anis is one of our favorite friends, and Anis cites that this is his favorite book of poetry. So he's going to read some poems and some of his own, and talk about what poetry can do for us all. And then there will be weekly events, both here in person and in Union County and online, for folks to be able to participate and start in the conversation about the subject of gratitude. And poetry in general. So we'll be rolling out the schedule probably late next week of all the events, and we're pretty excited. The finale is next month. I'll pitch this next month at Fireside, but Ross Gay is coming here, which is kind of a big deal. He's some people, for those people who know who Ross Gay is, they went, I can't believe he's coming to Wallowa County. So it's and he's a wonderful guy. I just had a conversation with him last week, and we had a really good conversation. So, if you can pick up a book, talk to Becky at the Book Loft and buy one from her. Or if you just don't have the cash and really need a copy, you can have it. All right, let's get to our next reader. John Gaterud of Wallowa is, listen to this. This is pretty cool. This is a pretty interesting story. John of Wallowa is a journalist who has worked as a reporter, an editor, a graphic designer, a college teacher, a newspaper and book publisher in a career spanning nearly 50 years. Born in New Jersey, he worked part-time during high school as a printer's devil for his hometown news weekly. What's a printer's devil? Yeah. Wow. We could learn all about that. After earning a journalism degree from the University of Northern Colorado in '78, he moved to Oregon, where he served for a year and a half as editor of the Grant County Blue Mountain Eagle. He earned a master's in journalism from the University of Oregon in '81 and began teaching at Minnesota State University in Mankato. I know it well, where he spent 25 years specializing in feature writing, editing, and graphic design. He's a founding publisher of Willow Avenue Review, a literary quarterly, the Minnesota Times, a statewide newspaper, and Blue Road Press, a small award-winning book company he started with his daughter. Isn't that nice? Over the years, John served as a publishing faculty for Howling Bird Press and the Creative Writing MFA at Augsburg College in Minneapolis. He holds a doctorate in American Studies and Journalism from the Union Institute in Cincinnati, where he pursued creative nonfiction focused, listen to this, on American road stories. Can't wait to ask you more about that. Current projects include editing a book manuscript for the Wallowa History Center, assembling a collection of his own work, and chasing ambitions in woodworking. Whoa. Parents to 2 kids, he and his wife Cindy had no idea that they would return to Eastern Oregon 4 decades after leaving John Day, but here they landed. Retired now and happy, they report to be living, hiking, skiing in the beautiful Wallowas. As for writing tips, John defers to a favorite teacher who advised, you don't know what you think until you write it down. Welcome, John Gaterud.
Hey, this Mike Midlow is something else, isn't he? Yeah. Unbelievable. At the college where I teach, I usually get the junior rank assignments because I'm the junior member of the faculty. I teach there nearly 25 years and I'm still the junior member. Do the math. Think Milton in Office Space. Every term I teach a section of reporting and another of editing, as well as continue serving life without parole to entertain 2 sections of Intro to Mass Comm, our Gen Ed cash cow for the department on said topic, in front of groups of 75 preoccupied undergraduates from across the university, the hockey guys all in the back row, in a demented form of stand-up, drilling them on, well, you know, the intricacies of the Wireless Ship Act of 1910 and the like.
Oh, Mr. Geez, that can be on the test.
Every term. Forever. I realize forever is a long time, or as some of my editing students might put it, a long time for all intents and purposes, which deconstructed could make sense, if only because in an effort to impose my version of college-level grammar upon them, that is, through what I find to be the most effective route to get the chance to diagram sentences while flailing my arms at the board up front, about which I confess I knew little, having surrendered years earlier in Mrs. Case's 7th grade English class to their mysteries, and subsequently being shortchanged on said basics in high school during the education revolution of the 60s. He says, A, unfairly, B, stupidly, C, winkingly, or D, all of the above. Until that further is, I had to teach it myself in entry-level reporting classes during an assistantship in grad school. where I learned, oh yeah, Mrs. Case, you were right after all. I was just too busy being a jerk-off 7th grader. But I repeat myself. I hand out unpunctuated passages from magazine articles and books to my aspiring editors, and then ask them to fix the errors, consulting their trusty Associated Press style book and deploying appropriate proofreader's marks. Proof marks are near the back of your book. Make them readable for their edits and corrections. So do it, please. And please bring it back next time, please, reminding them once again that I'm the only teacher they'll ever have who says please. So that we can all talk about it in class, all of us, hit it all in one whack, all together. You know, the art and science of punctuation. Got it? I give them 3 or 4 long, lowercase, unpunctuated, misspelled paragraphs shuffled from a rota of excerpts stored in my computer. Among them, Diane Ackerman's A Natural History of the Senses. Nothing is more memorable than a smell. John Ralston Saul's book about the Arctic, Subversion in the North. He pointed to the water. Look, you can see the whales. The opening of William Langewiesche's travelogue, Sahara Unveiled. Do not regret the passing of the camel and the caravan. Sometimes Annie Dillard's memoir, An American Childhood. The Homewood Library had graven across its enormous stone facade, free to the people, plus others, including Cormac McCarthy's The Crossing. He slept and woke from a troubling dream and could not sleep again. Which I tell them is a terrific piece of writing, if you think about it, don't you think? And then repeat the same exercise with other passages, and sometimes the same ones for their open book take-home midterm exam, only this time unassisted, that is, without me up front hopping around, where they dutifully insert carets and transpositions, and upon whose oversights or errors I later circle in blue ink, no longer using red, too bloody, and then return the papers for their edification. And it is contemplated and hoped and dearly prayed for, emendation, never to be mentioned again. Terrific, they say. Just fantastic. Fabulous, I reply.
This. What's this?
Land Cruiser.
No, I mean this. Why'd you circle this?
Land Cruiser. It's the name of the car. Toyota Land Cruiser.
No, what's wrong with it?
Wrong.
Wrong?
It's the name of the car, a model of the brand. Langewiesche writes in this paragraph about driving through the Sahara in a Land Cruiser, Toyota Land Cruiser. It's like a Ford Galaxy or Chevy Impala, a name. Plymouth Valiant, the model. Toyota Land Cruiser. Needs to be capitalized. Proper noun. Brand name. Style book, right? Toyota Land Cruiser. Looks like a Jeep, only a Toyota. Except lowercase Jeep is also generic, but not like Kleenex or Jell-O or Xerox or kitty litter, which are brands, but people make them generic, but AP doesn't, except lowercase Jeep, except when it's capped, like Land Cruiser. Depends. here, right, so here, Longavisha here, in this story, sees or drives or rides in a Land Cruiser, capital L, capital C. Underline. 3 times with your proof mark, each letter, not the whole word. Otherwise, well, then you remember the whole thing's capped, which it isn't. Just the first letter. First letters. Land, 1, cruiser. Look it up. Stop.
God, I hate
Great. Oh, well, great stuff, isn't it? Camels, Sahara, Land Cruisers. God, I hate this class. Please. Bree Stumbo. Mike Mercer. Yes, Mike, it is going to be on the test.
When I write to featured readers every month, I have this line that I say every time. It's like, be an artist, take chances. And that was a great example. both of our readings. Hey, have you ever thought, any of you, it's like, man, I wonder what it'd be like to work for Fishtrap. Would that be fun? Maybe I'd like to do that someday. We do have a job opening right now for an office administrator. It's 20 hours a week, Monday through Thursday, kind of office hours, and then special programs like Summer Fishtrap Week, et cetera. So if you know somebody who you think is super customer friendly and well organized and can deal with working with people like Janice and me and Jennifer, let them know about the job, because we'd love to get somebody here, and it's kind of a fun gig, you know. Also, on Monday, Summer Fishtrap registration opens, the 37th Summer Fishtrap Gathering of Writers. The theme this year is love. The lineup of workshops and instructors is pretty fun. If you haven't taken a look at it, do. And we even have, for you folks out there in internet lands, we have one of the workshops is virtual, so you can attend the entire Summer Fishtrap Week from the comfort of your living room. Take a look at that. Also, this year, many of you know this, in September, we have a raft trip, a Writing in the Wilderness raft trip in partnership with Winding Waters River Expeditions. This year, it's September 3 through 8, led by Gary Ferguson, who's a great friend of Fishtrap, and so you get to spend a week on the river with Winding Waters River Expeditions taking care of you and getting inspired to write while floating down the river. Anything else? No, I think that's it. Okay, let's get to our third reader. Can't wait for this. Lauren MacDonald. Is this your third or fourth Summer Fishtrap or Fishtrap Fireside reading? Something like that? But first time in this building. Great. Lauren MacDonald, so it'll be your debut. Lauren MacDonald works with words while curiously exploring the cosmos, plants, stars, humans, mysteries, patterns, roles, love, pain. Lauren's work is her expression of experiencing the natural world inside and out. Give a hand to Lauren MacDonald.
Hello. Hi. It's so good to see everyone here. Thank you for coming, and Fishtrap, thank you for having me. I write short poems, and I have 6 tonight to read. The first poem might seem like a fall poem, but feels to be aligned with this season, which is in the Celtic wheel of the year, Imbolc, which is the spark and the stirring of the seed underground. So I've been feeling into seeds. This is called Homecoming. Build me back into this hillside, pat my body down with clay, slow my heart to beat with mountains, let the moss grow where it may. I have come to be returned to, rest and breath of this warm earth. I am home tucked in this canyon. Sing dreams to seeds, pray soil's birth. Grow flowers when you want to, hold water when you need to, return to dirt when it's time. Let's see. My next poem is a love poem, and it's called Pelt. The more I see your skin, the more I shake the notion of the coat, the dress, the veil, and let light crown over the mountains we make and dance in the winds of our songs. Lead me into the heaven of myself. It's a fine and rich alchemy, this loving that we are. This poem is another Celtic-inspired poem. The Cailleach is an ancient force of life. She is known and felt by many and said to be the queen of winter, the old hag and the veiled one. She comes in many forms and in many stories. This is called the Cailleach. And we, as winter is, are a dance of freezing and thawing, layered then undone, layered and undone. And this year, the cold wind is a welcome traveler with ancient tales, with sage truths, and we, fat and fire-wed, are her resting flock. So, I sometimes announce that I'm a nurse and a doula, and I have the honor of being witness to births, births of babies and mothers and families and generations, really. So I like to praise them, and here are some praise poems for those sacred thresholds. These are 2 poems in one, and it's called Two Dawns. And in the night, sounds are birthed from somewhere, someone, mothered into this world for the first time and again. And at dawn, before bells, birds pray blessing calls to morning's first light. Hope crowned at dawn, much like you this afternoon. A long-awaited sight, headway to wow in tumbling form, like sun who breaks night with bounding rays of day. Newer than any of us, we hear you cry. I really love the babies. And I frequently cry at birth, if I have time. I also love the plants, and this is a love poem given to me by the plant Damiana. Raise your hand if you know Damiana. There's also a person in the county named Damiana who is lovely too. This is called Damiana. Slow, honey. Warm and slow, honey. Slow to taste, slow to dance, slow to walk. Slow. Down to everything. I am giving you every drop. I hope that you all have a cup of Damiana soon. This is my last poem, and it's dedicated to community that's gathering and mourning near and far, to community in Wallowa County, to community in Palestine. It's called A Prayer for Our World. And the crying mother, another crying mother. What if pain rung the bells of us, ourselves, alive, shook us awake to the burning limb of the great tree, signaled, beckoned, flagged, flashed, waved, showed us we are all parts in one, whole. And the crying mother, another crying mother. She eventually takes to song, the only sound that makes sense, as oceans have a way of singing through us, songs that soothe, a sweet, deep hum, bring them down and back to the heart. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Lauren. Let's give a big round of applause to June, John, and Lauren for having the courage to get up here and take chance. Before we get to the intermission, well, now comes the intermission where you get to refill your cup and eat a little snack and visit with some people before we get to the open mic. I do want to say that next month is Women's History Month, and so we'll kind of have a special lineup of, each year I try to get like a intergenerational radness of readers who identify as women and to tell their unique stories and experiences, and so check that out next month. Also, if I know you all came out tonight and maybe you said, wow, that was really worth it. That was a great time, on your way out. If you could throw a few bucks into that carved fish in there, it really helps us cover some expenses and shows that this program is valuable to you. If you are, there are still 3 spots open on the open mic. You're welcome to sign up for it. And if you are already signed up for the open mic, meet me at the board afterwards, and we'll just go over kind of like what 5 minutes feels like. And until then, get up, stretch, relax, get some fresh air, and we'll see you in about 10 minutes. Okay? Let's do it. That was all right.